Good morning, everyone. So today we have to start the session, basic economic concept. What does mean basic economic concept? Here we are going to identify or study about main few areas. Initially, we have to study about the needs and wants, right? So what are the needs and wants? Actually, human needs. Those are the essential thing for humans, right? So if we are living in the society, that we need some essential requirements. So that essential requirements are called needs, right? Essential, they are more essential for human being. But wants can be identified as how these essentials are being satisfied. What are the things that we use to satisfy our essential needs, right? Options to satisfy needs can be identified as wants, right? So this is the difference. Needs, the essential needs or essential requirements for human being. Wants are the options to satisfy needs, right? So this difference can be identified as the difference between needs and wants. Actually, needs are kind of limited. There are limited needs. There are no much more needs. But when it comes to wants, it can be classified so many types. There are so many varieties that we can satisfy our needs. That's why we call wants are unlimited. That's why the problem of scarcity arises because of wants are unlimited, right? So we'll study about that. Here, what is the difference between needs and wants? First one, needs, these are the minimum requirement of human for living. There are only very few needs. Those are countable, right? Very few needs. අත ඇඟිලි ගන්නට තියෙන. Example, thirst, hunger, shelter, clothing, safety, and health. If it is not clear, I can change the color. Right? Needs. These are the minimum requirements of human for living. There are very, very few needs. Example, thirst, hunger, shelter, clothing, safety, and health. Actually, those are the minimum things that we need to satisfy our needs, because these are the basics or essential requirements for living being. Thirst. For thirst, we can drink water. That's an option. So it can be identified as want. For hunger, we can eat rice. That is a want. For shelter, we can build a 2-story house or single story. That's a want. Shelter is a need. The want is the house. Clothing. We have so many types of clothing. We can wear denims, t-shirts, and sarong, shorts, and when it comes to girls, saris, frocks, and also denim and t-shirts, salwa. There are so many wants, but needs are limited, right? Needs are limited. Thirst, hunger, shelter, clothing, safety. When it comes to safety, we can use CCTV cameras. We can use police and also army. national security, those are for the safety. Health, when it comes to health, gymnasiums, medical hospitals, medical treatments, pharmacies, variety of medicines that we can use to satisfy our need, the health, right? So these are the features, right? Features of needs. What are the features? There are, they are actually, needs are essential. Needs are basic. Those are the basic to survive, right? Those are the basic for the survive. That's what need can be identified. There are limited needs and there are common, right? They are common, they are limited, and also simple and narrow, right? Features, they are essential for human being or essential for survival. They are basic requirements and they are limited. Very few amount of needs are there, and they are very simple as well as narrow, right? Those are the features or characteristics of needs. And then wants. Wants are the types that we can, or types of options that we can satisfy our needs. In order to fulfill needs and to satisfy themselves, alternative choices that human can use, right? Alternative choices that human can use are considered as wants, right? Human wants are unlimited. Actually, this is the beginning of the economics, because human wants are unlimited. Then we have to satisfy unlimited amount of want within the limited resources, right? That is the point that we identified as scarcity, because there are so many wants to satisfy. If I tell to write down a list that if you want to satisfy, there it can be much longer. It can be for the pages, right? But the thing is, the resources that we have to satisfy that wants are limited, right? So here there are unlimited wants to satisfy in the society. We are trying to day to day, from day to day activities, we are trying to satisfy our unlimited wants, right? But could we able to satisfy all of them? No, we cannot satisfy all of them. Then we need to, then we need a rational, right? How we can satisfy, or what are the limited wants that we have to satisfy? There are unlimited wants, but we have to satisfy only limited amount from them. That's why the economics need, right? That's why economic is there. Example, to fulfill the hunger, human can use rice, hoppers, kottu, biryani, cheeseburgers, and as wants. So the essential, the hunger is the essential part, that means need. To satisfy that, we can identify so many wants. If you want, you can eat rice, hoppers, kottu, biryani, cheeseburger, bread, ice cream, fruits. When it comes to fruits, mango, banana, pineapple, wood apple, and when it comes to soup, chicken soup and mutton soup, vegetable soup, there are so many varieties that are uncountable to satisfy these wants, right? So that's the difference between needs and wants, right? Features. Even though needs are essential, wants are not essential, right? Even though needs are basic, wants are optional. We can choose what to satisfy and what we can avoid, right? If there are, when it comes like when you are visiting to parents' sons, you have so many options, but you are not going to select all the options, right? Have you select? Have you ever select all the options? No, never. We can't do that. We have to select some options. We have to make a choice, right? And when it comes to needs, they are limited, but wants are unlimited. Needs are common for the everyone, but wants can differ person to person, right? Because if I don't like to eat string hoppers, but someone may like to eat string hoppers. So hunger is common for everyone, but not wants are common for the everyone. We know when it comes to Hindu tradition, there are different kind of foods. When it comes to Catholic or Christians, there are kind of different wants as the foods, right? So it can be different. So that's the base. That's the main difference between needs and wants. And then economic in economics, needs and wants are mostly used as synonyms, but you can cut that line, I think, right? You can cut that line. I have updated that. You can cut that line. We don't need that anymore, right? Next one. Then we come to scarcity. That's why we study about wants. After this point, we are not going to study about needs because needs are limited. But what we want? We want wants, right? Economics arise due to scarcity. Economics arise due to what? Scarcity. Then what does mean scarcity? What is this magical word that required subject called economics? We'll see. Scarcity is the limitation, right? Limitation or shortage of economic resources with compared to physical human wants. Actually, we don't need shortage. It's the limitation, right? It's the limitation of economic resources with compared to physical human wants, right? Why? Because, Lamai, there are so many amount of wants. So many amount of wants are there. Actually, it can't make within the boundary. So it can be like more than that, right? But when it comes to resources, how many resources you have? What is the wealth that you have to satisfy these wants? It's very limited amount of resources that we have. Very limited. That's why we are struggling to satisfy our want. In our total human life, in our entire human life, we cannot satisfy all the wants that we have, right? We can't satisfy all the wants. Then we have to select Somehow we have to select what you are going to satisfy with limited resources, because our resources are limited. Our actually, when it comes to money, it is limited. When it comes to land or whatever the resources that you have, those are limited. But the wants are unlimited. Then you, but now you are realizing you can only satisfy the limited amount of wants. Even though there are unlimited amount of wants, you have to satisfy only a set of wants, not all of them, because our resources are limited. We can't purchase all the technological stuff that we have, that market have, right? We can't purchase all the food items that uh, sellers have. We can't purchase all the type of vehicle which have in the market, right? So we have to select in somehow or using rational manner, that you have to select some of them. අපිට හැම එකම කරන්න සල්ලි නෑ ළමයි. අපිට හැම එකම කරන්න resources නෑ. ඒ නිසා ඔයාලට සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඒ තියෙන ගොඩාක් wants අතරින් කීපයක් තෝරගන්න. හරිද? අපි ඒක තෝරගන්න කීපේ පැත්තකට දාමු. But what is the scarcity means? This is the scarcity. Limited resources with compared to unlimited human wants. This called scarcity, right? Limitation of economic resources compared to physical human wants. Or here, compared to unlimited physical human wants. Unlimited, right? That is what we call scarcity. Again, we have so many wants. If I ask from you, you want this, you want that, you want books, you want a tab, MacBook, mobile phone, you want a good car, brand new car, or motorcycle, or whatever the production that you want, right? There are so many wants. But if I ask, do you have sufficient resources to purchase all of them? What is your answer? No. That's the problem. That's the problem of scarcity, right? We don't have sufficient resources. We don't have adequate resources to satisfy unlimited human wants. That is the problem of scarcity. This is fundamental reason. This is fundamental reason for the existence of subject called economics. That's why there's a subject called economics, right? If there is no any scarcity, there's no any subject called economics. Why? What was the definition of economics? It was the study how humans satisfy their unlimited wants with limited resources. That was the economic definition. A study of scarcity and choice, or study how human beings behave when satisfied their unlimited wants with limited resources. That was the definition. Reasons for scarcity. Now we know what are the reasons for scarcity. There were two reasons. First one, there were huge amount of wants. That means unlimited wants are there. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is we have only limited amount of resources. There are unlimited human wants, but only limited resources. That's why scarcity arises. That's why the economics exist, because of scarcity. Then, first one, resources are limited and human wants are unlimited. That's why scarcity is there. If there's no scarcity, no economics. If there is unlimited resources, no scarcity, right? If there are unlimited resources, then there's no any scarcity, right? If there are limited human wants, there is also no any scarcity. When it comes to Robinson Crusoe, can you remember that? Robinson Crusoe, the story? I don't know whether you can remember or not, because in our age, it was a kind of popular TV show, right? In there, he was the only human being initially, right? Initially, actually, that team was the only human being at that island. In that island, they can obtain every resources without any cost, right? They could be able to obtain every resources without any cost. That means they only have limited amount of wants. When it comes to Robinson Crusoe, that he went to that island and he has kind of unlimited resources are there, because with compared to his wants, there are unlimited resources. Because that in that story, their wants were limited. According to that scenario, there is no any scarcity, because they can obtain everything without any cost. Because that island was isolated, and there were no any other human beings, right? But in realistic, that can be different, right? Because resources are limited and human wants are unlimited, right? Next one. Growth of want. Growth of want, that means this, like if I tell you to write down a want list today, and after 1 year I'll tell you to write down another want list. Obviously, the wants are getting grown, right? Wants are getting grown and change. Growth of want is always much faster than growth of resources, because we can earn resources, no? අපිට resources කියන එක වැඩි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. But the problem is, even though resources increase, wants are increasing faster rate than resources. Then at every time, wants are unlimited with compared to limited wants, limited resources, right? Since even economic growth can't eliminate the scarcity. In an economic growth, right, the resource amount would be increased, right? In here, these are the wants, and these are the resources, limited resources. Even though the resources amount were increased, wants are getting increased more than that. Wants are getting increased more than that, since every time there are large amount of wants than resources, right? Obviously, the resource quantity will, the human wants will exceed the resource quantity, right? Next one. That's not enough about scarcity, because there are so many points. What are they? Scarcity is a comparative concept, right? It is a comparative concept. 1 minute. Right. So scarcity is a comparative concept. What does mean comparative concept? You need to compare scarcity. That means you need to compare unlimited wants with limited resources. Because if you see only about the unlimited want or only about the limited resources, you can't see the resources can be scarce, right? You can't identify any scarcity by looking at only about the limited resources, because we know there are so many resources, right? There can be identified so many resources in the economy. Someone can say there are so many resources in the economy, so how could that be possible, that there is no sufficient resources? How you can say there is no any sufficient resources? There are so many resources now. Someone can argue, but when, with compared to unlimited wants, if we identify what are the unlimited wants, then so this is limited, right? Again, I'll explain here. By looking at only about the resources, someone can argue there are sufficient resources for everyone. There are sufficient resources for the economy, for the entire economy, by looking only at the resources. But when it compared to human wants, oh my God, there is no sufficient resources because human wants are unlimited. I didn't see that, right? So that's the thing. This scarcity concept is comparative concept. By looking only at the human wants or only at the resources, we can't say there's a scarcity. The scarcity arises because of there is limited resource. There are limited resources with compared to unlimited human wants. That's the thing, right? So right. So every person, even Dhammika Pereira or Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, their resources with compared to their wants are limited, right? With compared to their wants, resources are limited. That's why they are gathering wealth. That's why they are gathering all the stuff, because they need to gather more to satisfy their unlimited resource, unlimited wants. If while they gather more, if they gather more and more resources, they would be able to cover up more human wants, but not all of them, right? We'll see. Scarcity is a comparative concept. Resources are scarce based on based on because of human needs more than whatever they have, actually human wants. Hence, scarcity of resources can only be understood by comparing available resources with available wants, right? Needs also no problem, because in after that separation needs and wants, we discuss both are at similar way. So needs and wants are similar after that separation, but still the better word is want, right? Next one, example. Some people might think rich people as Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, or Dhammika Pereira, they need nothing more. They will have no scarcity because they are kind of wealthy people, right? They are wealthy people, but the problem is they are limited resource. They only have limited resources with compared to their unlimited wants. Dhammika Perera wants to acquire John Keys. For that is a want of Dhammika Perera. Kind of. What are the wants we have? What are the wants you have to get a good result for advanced level? To purchase a mobile phone, laptop. Those are the wants that you have. But what are the wants Dhammika Perera have? He has so many wants, right? To acquire another business, to acquire business in Bangladesh, right? Those are kind of large amount of wants, right? Since every time we need to compare wants with limited resources, or we need to compare limited resources with their unlimited wants. That's how we can identify, oh, there's a scarcity, right? However, still they will need more than what they have. They need more. That's why they are conducting still business. ධම්මික පෙරේරාට ඇති වෙන්න සල්ලි තියෙනවා නම් ඔක්කොම බිස්නස් ටික නවත්තලා දාලා ගෙදරට වෙලා ඉන්න පුළුවන්. මාක් සක්කර්බර්ග්ට Facebook එක විකුණලා දාලා ඒ සල්ලි වලින් ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But they are not doing that. Why? Because they need more. Why? With compared to our wants, their wants are huge. They have so many unlimited wants, but their resources are limited, right? So scarcity is a comparative concept. Don't look only about the resources. Always you need to compare it with unlimited wants. To acquire new business, investing in space industry, purchasing an island, those are the wants that they have. We don't have to acquire business. We don't want to invest in space industry. We don't need to purchase an island because we know that we don't have that much resources. Then we don't even think about it. But these people have more resources. Then their wants also kind of large scale with compared to us, right? Next one. Thus, we have to compare one's resources with his or her needs or wants. Next one. Next one. Buddha, scarcity is a universal concept or eternal concept. It cannot be eliminated in any circumstance, right? Until there are limited wants or unlimited resources, scarcity cannot be eliminated. Scarcity is common to everyone in the world, right? Not world. Right? It is because human wants are unlimited and always grow, right? Not in our society, not in Sri Lanka, not in Bangladesh, not only in USA, in entire world, human wants are unlimited. But they only have limited amount of resources. Since they cannot satisfy all the wants by their available resources. That's the problem. That is common for everyone. Even developed country, or either developed country or developing country. For rich person or poor person, it doesn't matter. The scarcity is common. But the degree that they face to scarcity can be different. Because poor people continuously face to scarcity problem. And rich people, they also face continuously, but the less degree than poor people. right? This always there will be an unfilled gap, right? Unfulfilled gap between amount of resources that they have and the amount of resources wish to have, right? Our expectation is kind of more than our actual resources. We wish, actually, I wish I had a good car, like Mercedes Benz, or Range Rover. That's my expectation, but I have only limited amount, right? Since we need to fulfill those gap by gathering more resources. Further, even if new resources are discovered, yet growth of needs here, growth of wants are always much faster than growth of resources, right? I told you, growth of resources would be limited, but growth of wants are unlimited, right? Thus, this gap, scarcity will be eternal problem that could never be totally solved. Scarcity cannot be eliminated. Scarcity cannot be totally solved. Why? Because there's a problem. There's a problem with limited resources with compared to unlimited human wants. Every society, every economy, every country have that problem, right? Next one. Scarcity and poverty are two different concepts. What does mean scarcity? We know unavailable resources with compared to human wants, or insufficient resources with compared to human wants can be identified as scarcity, or limitation of resources with compared to human wants. But poverty, what does poverty mean? Poverty means inability to satisfy basic human needs, right? What does poverty mean? If someone cannot afford any of food, right? Someone is suffering from hunger, doesn't have any food. Someone doesn't have shelter. He is homeless, right? Someone doesn't have clothes, homeless, right? If someone cannot obtain or satisfy the basic human needs such as hunger, shelter, clothes, that means scarcity. Sorry, that means poverty, right? That means poverty. That is different concept from scarcity, because scarcity is common for poor people as well as rich people. It cannot be eliminated, right? Scarcity cannot be eliminated, but poverty can be eliminated. In Singapore, poverty has eliminated because of their productivity, right? So what does poverty mean? The inability to satisfy basic human needs. That is the poverty. අපි තුමු කාට හරි කන්න නැහැ. එයා පාරේ ගිහිල්ලා කීයක් හරි එකතු කරගෙන කන්නේ. කාට හරි ඇඳුමක් ගන්න සල්ලි නැහැ. එයා ඉරිච්ච ඇඳුම් අඳින්නේ තව ඇඳුමක්වත් වෙන ඇඳුමක් නැහැ. එයාට එක ඇඳුමයි තියෙන්නේ. කාට හරි ෂෙල්ටර් එකක් නැහැ. එයාට ඉන්න නිදින්න තැනක් නැහැ. එයා පාරේ ඉන්නේ වැස්සට තෙමෙනවා අවුවට වේලෙනවා. So that means he doesn't have sufficient resources to satisfy basic human needs. That means poverty. But scarcity, it's a kind of different concept, right? So here, poverty is the inability to satisfy basic human needs. It can be solved. Poverty can be solved. Why? There are so many people who were suffering from poverty, but now they became rich people, right? So here, but scarcity is existing until there are limited resources and unlimited human wants. Scarcity cannot be eliminated, right? It will be there until resources will become unlimited. Next one. Scarcity cannot be fully eliminated. Scarcity cannot be fully eliminated. Even though resources are used efficiently, right? Without wastage, scarcity can't solve. That means scarcity and inefficiency are two different concepts. If there is an inefficiency, that means there's a wastage. The resources are not utilizing, resources are wasting. That means inefficiency. Let's say that inefficiency will become efficient. Wastage will be zero. Could we be able to solve scarcity? No, never. We can't solve scarcity. Even though resources are used efficiently without any wastage, scarcity can't be solved until there are inadequate resources with compared to human wants, right? Resource limited කියන තාක්කල්, right? Inadequate resources, that means resources limited වන තාක්කල් we can't solve, right? අපිට scarcity එක solve කරන්න බෑ. ඒකයි මෙතනින් කියන්නේ, right? Scarcity cannot be solved until the inadequate resources with compared to human wants. Then how scarcity can be solved? Only if there are unlimited human wants, right? Scarcity is temporary. Scarcity is not temporary, right? Why? Because temporary shortage, temporary mean, let's say previous months, like in recently, there was shortage of fuel. Can you remember? We were waiting on kind of huge queues, huge lines until like we getting exhausted, right? It was like 12 to 15 hours queues were there, right? There were so many lines. Why? That's still, is that remain still? No, it was solved, right? So that means market shortage of one or two good, right? Market shortage mean what? Mean excess demand. Excess demand mean demand is always greater than supply. It was a temporary problem, right? In fuel, recently fuel market was shortage. And also egg also the same thing happened. Egg market, in egg market the demand was higher than supply, so we couldn't be able to find some eggs in past few months. Then government tried to import them. And also gas, the same thing was happen, but now it has solved. Then temporary market shortage is not a permanent scarcity. Right? it's a temporary. දැන් ඒක solve වෙලා ඉවරයි. දැන් ඒක solve වෙලා ඉවරයි නම් ඒක scarcity වෙන්න බෑ. Why? Because scarcity can never be solved, right? So market shortage is a temporary situation which can be eliminated, which can be solved, but not scarcity, right? Temporary shortage in market is not define the scarcity. A shortage just, then it's fine. Right? Deficit in the market is a temporary situation, but scarcity is a permanent situation. It cannot be solved, right? You got it. If there is any problem, you can ask me, you can message me, you can call me, whatever possible thing you can do. Then choice. Choice. I told you, when there were unlimited human wants and limited resources, right? Limited resources that you could be able to achieve only, you could be able to satisfy only limited amount of wants which match for your resources. You have to give up all so many things while you choosing one thing, right? Obviously, you can't satisfy all the wants. Sorry. You can't satisfy all the unlimited wants with limited resources. Then what do you have to do? You have to select what are the limited, what are the wants that you are going to satisfy with limited resources. There are unlimited wants and limited resources. Now there's a problem. Why? You can't satisfy all the wants that you have, right? So you have to select some sort of wants, some wants which you expect to satisfy. That selection from all other wants, right? There are so many options, but you have to select few, one or few. That is what we call choice. That is what we call choice. We'll see. You got it, right? Because of limited resources, that you could not be able to satisfy all the unlimited wants. Then you have to match some wants with your resources. Then you can only satisfy the limited amount of wants, not all the wants. Then you have to pick what you are going to satisfy from all of these options, all of these all of these options. Among all of these alternatives, that you have to select what you are going to satisfy. That would be the choice, right? Choice. Selecting which wants or want to fulfill by using the scarce resources due to scarcity and having alternative uses. Because let's say I have 5,000 rupees, and using 5,000 I can watch a movie, I can take a good meal, I can have some books, past papers or model papers or whatever. Oh, I can attend to new tuition class fee. But you only have 5,000. Let's say that is scar, right? That is scar. But there are alternatives. Scar resources have alternatives. Then you have to select one option. Since scar resources having some alternatives that you have, let's say you have chosen to select to purchase books, past papers. You are going to purchase past paper books. Then that is the choice. This is the choice, right? Why choice need to make? First one, resources are scarce. Resources are scarce. And second one, scarce resources have alternative uses. හිතන්න alternative තිබ්බේ නෑ. අපි හිතමු මේක සරසවියකින් ඔයාට හම්බෙච්ච 5000ක වවුචර් එකක්. එහෙනම් alternative නෑනේ ළමයි. එහෙනම් කෙලින්ම ඔයාට මේක සිලෙක්ට් කරන්න වෙනවා එතන. choice එකක් වෙන choice එකක් නෑ. හරිද? ඔයාට කවුරු හරි දුන්නා නම් රුපියල් 5000ක වවුචර් එකක්, you don't have any choice, you have to select books. Right? So there is no any choice. ඒකෙත් ඇතුළට ගියොත් ඕනනම් පොත් ගන්නවද, පෑන් ගන්නවද, නැත්නම් ස්ටේෂනරිස් ගන්නවද, එහෙම හිතන්න පුළුවන්. But if there is, why choice is arise? Because of scarce resources. First one, scarce resources. And second one, scarce resources have alternative uses. There are so many alternative uses, right? That's why scarcity, that's why choice arise, right? That's why choice arise. We'll see. Due to scarcity and having alternative uses of resources at a given time is defined as a choice, right? Selecting which want to fulfill by using scarce resources due to scarcity and having alternative uses. So those are the two reasons that choice need to be made. Why choice need to be made? First one, resources are scarce, right? That means scarcity. Next one, resources have alternative uses, right? That's why choice need to be made, right? What are the reasons? First one, resources are scarce, and second one, resources have alternative uses. Then opportunity cost. Right.